how long does it take to buy a house? So I want to go over a bit of a timeline that I was able to create so that I can explain in detail how long does it take to buy a house, from getting pre-qualified to start looking at houses, start writing some offers, go through the counter stage, and eventually close escrow and get the keys to your first home. Okay? So let's say we started the process April the 1st. Now, again, results will vary depending on the motivation of the client, how fast they are at providing the documentation that lenders are going to require in order to apply for a mortgage home loan. So again, these are worst case scenarios, but again, if it takes the buyer 1 to 3 weeks to gather the documents, and I know that it could be done a lot faster, but on average, it might take some buyers a bit of time because they have to gather their taxes, or they have to contact the CPA, they have to print their bank statements, or they have to call their employer to get the latest pay stubs. They probably have to log in and get their recent 401k statement, you name it. Not everybody is going to be super fast and gather those documents in 2-3 days. Have I seen it in my 19 years? Yes, I have. But I'm giving you all a realistic timeline. 1 to 3 weeks. Again, this all can be done as fast or as slow as the buyer wants it done. But after we get all the documentation and hopefully the buyer gets pre-approved, the next step is somebody like myself, a full-time real estate broker, will meet with the buyers again and go over where they want to look, what are the two to three top cities. I have them do a wants and needs list because not everything that they want may be what they need. So we have to be realistic when buying our first home. And we have to take into account that our first home is not going to be our forever home. Usually a family will stay in a home roughly 5 to 8 years. So if this is your first home, this is not going to be your forever home, and we got to be realistic. The goal is to get your foot in the door and buy a piece of real estate so that you can stop making your landlord richer. So we get pre-approved, we start looking at houses, and let's say because of our unrealistic expectations, it takes us 1 to 4 weeks to identify the house that we want to look at. Fantastic. It might take us 2 to 4 weeks because I've seen buyers that look at a home, they love it, but they're like, you know what? Show me more. I just don't want to commit to the first house I see because what if I see something bigger? What if I see something less expensive or newer? I don't want to have that buyer remorse where I'm going to be regretting the fact that I pulled the trigger on the first house I saw. I've heard that conversation a million times, and I totally understand it. But here's my question. If it takes us 2 to 4 weeks to get an offer accepted, what's going to be the next step? Well, we got to do inspections. The lender's going to order the appraisal. And hopefully we negotiate everything as far as any repairs, any credits, if the price needs to be lowered, if we have to negotiate lender requirements in order for the buyer to obtain the loan or the financing. And let's say the escrow period takes 30 to 45 days. If we started on April 1st, we might close escrow somewhere by early June or mid-August. So again, results will vary depending on the client's motivation and realistic expectations. So if you've been looking to buy a home and you've been either putting or submitting 20, 30 offers and nothing is getting accepted, my friend, you need a second opinion. Not all real estate agents are created equal. 100,000 plus real estate licensees left the business last year. And a lot more are going to be leaving due to the NAR lawsuit and settlement uncertainty. So it's important that you work with a full-time real estate professional like yours truly that understands the market, that is in the trenches, submitting offers, getting offers accepted, taking listings and selling them. Because I always say, Anybody could open an escrow, which is true, but professionals get them done. So if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. I'd love to go over your scenario because every scenario is different, and I can't wait to guide you through the path of homeownership.